Welcome back. You're watching Back Pages tonight, and welcome back to Miguel Delaney and Charlie Wyatt. Let's go to the Times and a story from a friend of the show, Martin Ziegler. The RFU looked to buy half of Wembley. What do you make of this, you two? Just a bit more detail on this one, Miguel. The governing body says that it will not pursue a radical plan that was suggested last year as an alternative to spending an unaffordable, in brackets, £663 million to redevelop the home of England rugby. It's understood the FA has not to date received any formal approach about Wembley, which opened in 2007. The total cost of this £663 million, it's £385 million in construction costs, 58 in design fees, 60 million pounds in fixtures and fittings, 90 million pounds on contingency, and 111 million pounds on inflation. Miguel, but the FA not aware of this Wembley story.
Well, it's funny as well because this actually has echoes with a story a few years ago about selling Wembley, which maybe you could argue now with hindsight there's more logic to. But there's two sides to these sort of stories. They always leave me feeling a little bit conflicted. In some ways, kind of attachment to tradition, particularly as regards where you play, can be an inhibition to sport, especially in times when, for a lot of sports, basically outside major club football, there are big financial decisions to take, and this can be prohibitive. But on the other side, sport is, in a large part, about tradition, about attachment, about culture, and about habits. And for rugby, not that I'm particularly a rugby man, but Twickenham is obviously, it's called headquarters for a reason. It's part of the lore of the sport. And from that perspective, it does feel as if maybe in the medium term that English rugby is taking the right decision not pursuing this just because of everything that the stadium means.
Yeah, and Charlie, just looking at some more details, the proposed plans state that Twickenham would have to close for, after the 2027 Six Nations for a year. It would reopen for the 2028 tournament. That would mean that England's 27 World Cup warm-up fixtures and the Red Roses matches would be played on the road. It goes on to say that Martin Ziegler says the hope is that the full redevelopment package would be completed by 2031. And that's a serious lick of paint, but a lick of paint which brings England into the world alongside the likes of their big rivals in the world of rugby, the likes of the All Blacks and Australia and what France are doing.
Yeah, it's obviously a great sporting arena, but the infrastructure, particularly the transport, I think that's the well-known issue around Twickenham.
Is Wembley any better, Charlie?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, believe it or not ideal, but I think there are numerous stations you can get to Wembley, and it'd have been a huge shame for them to rock up at Wembley. Obviously, the FA. Were considered an offer from Sheikh Khan at Fulham, maybe I reckon 6 years ago. And then after COVID, the FA lost a lot of money and would have probably been open to it. But I think by all accounts, they're paying off most of the billion or so it costs to build Wembley. As you've just said, I think it's the wise decision that they're looking to stay at Twickenham, even if it means they sort of have to leave for a year or so. And I can't believe there's any rugby fan who would want to leave Twickenham and go to Wembley. Not one.